What's going on YouTube? So Mazda SUVs have always been known to be luxurious and fun options, especially their compact ones. And today we're with the latest 2025 CX-50 to see what's new and talk about an exciting powertrain change. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so let's go ahead and start things out under the hood. So for 2025, like we were just mentioning, there is an exciting change, and that's the fact that we now have 3 powertrain options for the CX-50, and the new one is, of course, a hybrid offering. So what's going on with that hybrid model? That is going to be basically an implant from Toyota. That's going to be Toyota's hybrid system, a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine with 3 electric motors. And Mazda has confirmed it will be making 219 horsepower. And it will also have an estimated 38 miles per gallon combined. So those are kind of your base specs for the hybrid powertrain. Now that being said, it is going to be later availability on that model. So the 2025s are at dealerships right now for the CX-50, but you still have just the 2 gas powertrains to choose from, including what we have today, which is the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, continuing on with 187 horsepower.
You do also have standard all-wheel drive regardless of what powertrain you choose. And we're going to be taking this out on a spin later on and discussing what we expect the hybrid model to be like behind the wheel. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading and discussing resale value and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about anything else that is new for 2025. All right, so right from the start here, let's go ahead and talk about some things revolving around trim levels. So we have 3 different powertrains as we already established, and each of those is going to have its own selection of trim levels. So the standard 2.5 model will have 4 trim levels, but that upcoming hybrid model, that's going to be offered in largely the same versions as the traditional gas-powered model, but it will be missing the base select trim level. Now for the 2.5 turbo models, we now start at the Meridian trim level instead of the base turbo. All right, now we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the exterior design. So of course, all of them are going to have a relatively sporty look. You've got that signature Mazda design. We have a pretty rugged bumper down here in the bottom to make this look a little bit tougher. And as far as the lights, this is actually the very base trim level today. This is the select, and we still have the upgraded full LED headlights. These are really, really nice. I like this design a lot. And you also have the LED turn signal indicator separated down here with the fading effect. Now, as far as the rear is concerned, it continues to have a nice wide look to it.
Yeah, I like the way the CX-50 looks, and Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside, and we're going to break down some of the individual design elements that you're going to get on this model. I do want to point out you have a spoiler, you have a wiper, and as far as your taillights are concerned, he's going through all of the stages right now. We have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and LED turn signal indicator. It even has the nice fading in and out. This taillight unit is more premium than most luxury cars, and this is on a very base trim level of the CX-50. Now, as we drop down to this lower area, all of this is going to be finished in a rugged matte black. We do have dual exposed exhaust outlets, and I do want to mention the tow rating, because the tow rating comes in at 2,000 pounds for the gas models. If you choose the hybrid, Mazda has said it has a 1,500 pound tow rating.
Now, as far as your wheels are concerned, you have choices between 17 and 19-inch alloy wheels. The hybrid model should also have those same choices for the respective trim levels, although they could end up with a modified design. And in terms of the finish, as you can see, we do have a nice gloss black look. Come up here to our mirrors. These are also finished in the gloss black design. Blind spot monitoring will be standard across every single CX-50. And as you move up the trim levels, you'll gradually add things like heating, your auto dimming abilities, as well as your power folding.
Now here at the side of the CX-50, we come in at an overall vehicle length of 186 inches long. And as far as your safety systems are concerned, we have another change for 2025. Mazda says that they have enhanced the safety features. You're still going to get all of them as standard equipment this year, but they have enhanced it to, I guess, make it work a little bit better for their consumers. But guys, there are some changes on the inside as well, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the interior. Here's our key fob. We do, of course, have smart entry system with the typical Mazda key fob. That is going to be standard equipment, and so you just reach behind the handle and that will unlock the door. Go ahead and check out the interior. This is a base model like we said. However, as you can see, it does have a pretty nice look. And let's go ahead and start by talking about our seats. So as far as the seats are concerned, as you can see, we have actually a mostly leatherette seat. It does have a cloth insert through the center section, but again, a very nice seat, nice stitching details on board. It is a manual adjusting seat, but if you choose any trim except for this base select model, that will give you a 8-way power adjusting seat. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And let's go ahead and look at the rest of the cabin materials. I do want to say right from the start here, we have reviewed a wide selection of CX-50s in the past, including the high-end examples with lots and lots of features. So if you want to check those out, be sure to head to the channel. Nothing fundamentally is going to be changing about the cabin for 2025. But let's see what we get with the base model. So over here in the door trim, we have a leatherette. It's going to continue through the center section as well. And then we have this nice textured leatherette, and that's going to be through the upper part. I do want to point out it's got a hard touch on the top there. Checking out the top of the dashboard, this is a soft touch plastic. You have more of the leatherette through the center section, and then it won't be padded down here on the bottom unless you get one of the upper trim levels. Let's go ahead and fire it up. All right, now that it's fired up, let's go ahead and take a look at our gauge cluster first of all. As you can see, this is a partially digital, partially analog cluster. You can reconfigure the information right there using that steering wheel button. And of course, your higher end examples do get a head-up display as well. One thing I do want to point out that's a very cool standard feature in this segment of vehicle, rain sensing wipers are on every single model, even this base trim. Now, as far as the steering wheel is concerned, you can see it is going to still be a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. You have manual tilt and telescoping. Of course, steering wheel heating is also available. It's not on the base trim, obviously. Popping open our center console so we can take a look at interior storage. It does open in a split design, and you'll see that we have donuts inside. That's because here at Car Confections, we like to use the donut in our emblem to put them inside the center console and check the volume. The answer is going to be 9 donuts today. That's pretty good for an overall performance. A little smaller than some of the biggest competition though. You have a little slot right there where you can stick your phone. Can also be a wireless phone charging pad. And then you've got your 2 cup holders right there and another storage cubby up in the very front. The shifter is going to be a traditional style shifter, so just pull back for drive, bump to the left. If you want to shift manually, we don't have paddle shifters on this trim level. And in reverse, here's what our standard backup camera is going to look like. We don't have active trajectory, and you don't have parking sensors until you move up the trim levels. You also can get a 360 camera. But you do still have electronic parking brake with brake hold. Now off to the side of that, you have your control knob for the infotainment system. We'll talk about that more in just a sec. And then we also have our volume knob. Let's go ahead and give the standard 8-speaker sound system a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is quite good for a base sound system. Obviously, a Bose sound system is available if you want something a little bit punchier. All right, now taking a look at our climate controls, we have a simple arrangement here. Dual zone auto climate is standard across the entire trim structure. Very simple to use, like I was saying. I do want to point out, heated seats, they start on one more trim level above this. So you just have to move up one trim to get the heated seats. Ventilated seats are going to be on your higher end examples. Something you don't have to upgrade for is this 10.25 inch display. This is going to be standard across the entire lineup. And one of the nice things they upgraded last year was the fact that now when you're inside of Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which by the way are standard and wireless, you can now use this touchscreen. So as you can see, we can actually interact with this inside of this system. When you're in Mazda's interface though, so let me kind of go back to the main screen here. When you're inside of Mazda's interface, you are still going to need to use the control knob down on the dashboard, but if you're using Android or Apple CarPlay, you won't have to. Another update for 2025 is the fact that Alexa is standard across all of the trim levels, and that does allow you to actually control some of the native systems inside of the vehicle with Alexa, including things like your climate controls. Now up above, we have a manual dimming mirror. All the lighting in here is going to be LED. We have a sunglass holder, but we don't have a sunroof, of course, on today's example. You can get a panoramic sunroof on your upper tier models.
So let's go ahead and talk about the rear seat area of the CX-50 before we take it out on a drive. Now, as far as your space figures are concerned, that doesn't change this year. So we're still sitting at about 39 inches of legroom and 39 inches of headroom. So really good space figures for this segment of vehicle. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and I'm still sitting at about 7 inches of knee space. So pretty darn good overall. Now, my feet can also slide up underneath the seat. I have tons of room under here. I really like how Mazda hollows it out. And I even want to point out the fact that the rear door trim actually really opens quite wide. It's basically at a 90-degree angle, so loading in car seats and whatnot should be pretty much a breeze. As far as features are concerned, though, here in the center we do have rear vents on all CX-50s. I like that. We're also going to have charging USB ports. They're the Type-C variety. Heated rear seats are available if you choose the turbo trim levels. We have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders inside, and going back to that door trim, it's going to be hard touch on all the upper part. However, the lower section is going to be nicely padded, and we also have quite a bit of storage down in the very bottom. Walking up to the tailgate, we actually have a manually opening tailgate for this base model. One trim above, though, will add a power tailgate. And as far as these space figures are concerned, we are going to have pretty good numbers with this CX-50. We're going to be sitting at 31.4 cubic feet behind the second row of seats and 56 cubic feet with those seats folded down. Now, you can easily do that just by grabbing these 2 little levers right there, and they do fold 60-40 split. Now, I can already hear the comments forming. Mason, what about the hybrid model that's upcoming? What type of cargo capacity are we expecting for that? And Mazda has actually given us some numbers. 29 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. So we're looking at about a 2 cubic foot disadvantage over the traditional gas models. So we expect that to be the same for the seats folded down as well. So about 54 cubic feet as a maximum is what we are expecting. Now, as far as the cargo length and width figures, let's go ahead and get those. We do that in all of our Car Confections reviews. From behind the driver's seat, adjusted to someone who's 5'8", we're looking at 76 inches of cargo length. From behind the second row, 41 inches. 42 inches wide, and then as far as overall cargo height, let me kind of move this out of the way so we can get an accurate number here. We're sitting at 28 inches tall. If we lift up the cargo floor, you will find a spare tire underneath. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Mazda CX-50. In this drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and give you a hard acceleration.
at 60 miles per hour. So as we were talking about earlier, this is the standard engine option, the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. This is going to have 187 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque from a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. Now, of course, what you've probably seen featured most often on YouTube for the car enthusiast is going to be the turbo option, which adds that turbocharger to it. It gives you a lot more power. And then, of course, what we've really been talking a lot about is that upcoming hybrid model. So if you're, wondering where that kind of fits into the lineup, the hybrid is going to slide right in between those two 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engines, the turbo and the regular one. That model there is going to have 219 horsepower, so a good deal more than what you're getting on board with the standard engine.
Yeah, and actually, as a matter of fact, this is a hybrid powertrain setup that is borrowed exactly from the Toyota RAV4. So we actually have been behind the wheel of the RAV4 hybrid plenty of times. So in order to give you guys the best, guess until we can get that CX-50 hybrid actually here in person, we'll just go ahead and insert the RAV4 hybrid as a good reference point.
All right, so that was up to about 60 miles an hour. We have the red light coming up, so not all the way up, and we were going uphill, but overall power is pretty good. As we mentioned at the spec dump, the RAV4 hybrid actually makes more power than the standard gas version, and even the gas version makes pretty good power for the class. It's already over 200 horsepower, and this has 219 horsepower.
Yeah, we've said it in RAV4 hybrid reviews in the past, and I'll say it again here. The electric torque just kind of gets you off the line because it does, of course, have that battery assisting, and that makes you feel like you're going quite a bit faster than the gas model, even though the horsepower is only about 16 more horsepower for this RAV4 hybrid. But I think you guys are going to be very pleasantly surprised if you're coming from a gas one to a hybrid at the overall power difference.
And just to recap what the system is composed of, this is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. It is going to be paired with a front and small rear electric motor, and together you will have, again, that 219 system horsepower. You will also have standard all-wheel drive because of that as well. Now let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, that's the transmission. So all the traditional gas powertrains are going to have the 6-speed automatic transmission. This is a perfectly smooth and nice transmission. Of course, it is down a couple gears versus, what most of the rivals have, but no big deal overall. It has got enough torque that it feels pretty good. In terms of the upcoming hybrid, that's going to be an eCVT. So, that's one way that you can kind of pick between which model that you want to buy.
Yeah, and you saw that played out in the test drive. Of course, it's going to have maybe a little bit more of a non-traditional feel than the 6-speed automatic, but certainly not bad whatsoever. Now, as far as how the power is routed to the ground, you do have a standard all-wheel drive on every version of the CX-50. That also goes for the hybrid models as well. So you're going to have all-wheel drive as standard. And I also want to take a second here to mention fuel economy. I'm sure you're very curious about this as well. So as far as this base powertrain setup, which still most CX-50s will be equipped with, you're going to be sitting at 25, 31, 28 miles per gallon combined. If you choose the turbo model, that's 25 mpg combined. But the big news is the hybrid, and what type of fuel economy is that going to get? Well, it hasn't been officially EPA rated just yet. However, they do have an estimate out on it, and they are saying they're expecting 38 miles per gallon combined. 38, that's really, really good. It's not quite as good as what you get in the RAV4, for instance, but it's still a solid 10 miles per gallon better than this base powertrain setup, and it's 13 miles per gallon better than the turbo model. So talk about some serious fuel savings. You definitely will be saving a lot of money by choosing the hybrid when it comes to fuel economy.
Definitely like the way they tune the throttle response on this. It feels very punchy right off the line.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and dive into overall ride quality when it comes to this CX-50. Now, CX-50 has always had a little bit of a sporty edge to it, and I think you will feel that a little bit when it comes to your ride quality. Even here with the smaller wheels that we have equipped on this model, you definitely will feel a little bit of the road imperfection, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's actually what a lot of Mazda buyers want to feel. And, you know, I expect that to continue for the hybrid model as well, to have that little bit of a sportier characteristic.
Right. This definitely by no means is rough, but it is certainly on the sportier side of things. And that's because you do get those signature Mazda dynamics. And that's one of the things that we love about Mazda. Like Mason said, a lot of people that buy Mazdas, they really appreciate that. So with the CX-50 specifically, again, you know, you've got that really dialed in steering. It's got good heft to it. They actually lightened it up a little bit last year as one of the 2024 changes. That being said, it's still going to be, you know, quite a bit heavier and more precise than what is typical in the segment. Normally, the segment doesn't inspire much confidence, but this is actually a compact crossover you'll enjoy to drive. And it does feel more in common with like a German luxury SUV than it does your average run-of-the-mill compact crossover.
All right, and we are speeding up to 55 miles per hour so we can get our signature sound level reading in the 2025 CX-50. We have it on fan speed 1. 57.4 seems to be the number that we have settled in at for this CX-50. I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition, though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we posted all the cars that we review in this channel. And as far as how that compares to other compact SUVs, that does actually place it a little bit on the louder end of the segment. However, I do want to point out we've tested out higher end Mazda CX-50s that have definitely tested quieter in the overall cabin experience. So I do think that choosing the base trim levels will result in a little bit of a louder cabin, as you can see with that sound level reading. And now, guys, I think it's time for us to get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about this 25 CX-50. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
Well, I think the Slam Dunk is going to be the biggest change of 2025, which is the fact that they are adding a hybrid powertrain. We're excited about that. I think it's going to be a really cool combination of having more power, having a great fuel economy from a hybrid engine, but also combining that with Mazda's signature elements, such as just being fun to drive.
Yeah, Toyota RAV4 hybrid system and a fun to drive package. That's pretty good deal. Now, the Airball, and the only thing that we really think to complain about is the fact that the hybrid won't be available just yet. It's going to be late 2024, so you will have to wait at least a few more months to get the CX-50 hybrid, so keep that in mind when it comes to your purchasing decision and time frame. As far as your warranty is concerned, Mazda's signature warranty applies here: 3-year 36 basic, 5-year 60 powertrain. And we just want to stress that, of course, we will be driving this CX-50 hybrid, the upcoming model, as soon as we possibly can. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye out and get you guys the earliest content on that that we can. So be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're at all interested in the CX-50 or that upcoming hybrid, because there'll be a lot more videos hitting the channel soon. And time to talk about price. So for 2025, we start at $30,300 for this select trim level. Now, we do actually have pricing for the upcoming hybrid CX-50s as well. So the hybrid model is going to start at $33,790 for the preferred trim level, so that's one above. Now, if you're looking at how much the hybrid is going to cost above the traditional gas setup, it's going to be about $2,000 roughly. Now, as we go up the trim levels, you end at the Hybrid Premium Plus. That's your highest end hybrid model, $40,050, and then of course you have the turbo models as well. $43,300 is the Turbo Premium Plus. Now, Looking at today's example, of course, like I said, we have the base model. It's the 2025 CX-50. We have just optional paint, a few little accessories as well. 1420 destination, 32705 as tested. Now, if you're looking to buy a Mazda CX-50 or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But now, let's dive into resale and reliability. Now it's time to discuss potential resale value and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, we'll talk about potential resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this CX-50's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 59.4% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 25.2%. Now, it's worth noting that is a very good resale value percentage. It's actually one of the very best that you can get in the entire automotive industry, only falling behind stuff like Toyota and Honda.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that paints a more holistic picture. In this respect, Mazda is just about exactly at the industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability and resale value data, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle makes. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the 2025 Mazda CX-50. Of course, we hope you enjoyed watching this video and found it informative. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is that going to give you more car content like this, it's also going to give you a notification when we are able to finally drive the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid, which won't be too long from now, hopefully. So be sure to subscribe down below if you're interested in that model at all. We'll be definitely covering it on this channel. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.